The first snow of winter had begun to fall over Maplewood, tiny white flakes swirling through the chilly evening air. Streetlights glowed a soft amber along Willow Street, where two best friends, Emma and Sophie, walked side by side, their laughter rising like music against the quiet of the night. They were high school juniors, carefree and full of life, heading to their favorite bakery for their usual post-school treat, hot chocolate and cinnamon rolls. The world around them felt warm despite the cold, wrapped in the simple comfort of friendship and routine. But that day, something stopped them in their tracks. Near the bus stop, or what used to be one, sat an old woman on a weathered wooden bench. Her gray hair spilled out from beneath a thin, worn shawl, and her frail hands trembled as she tried to sip from an empty paper cup. Her coat looked decades old, and her shoes were soaked from the melting snow beneath her feet. Sophie slowed down first. "Emma," she whispered, "do you see her?" Emma nodded, frowning. "Yeah, she looks cold. Should we?" Before she could finish, the old woman coughed softly, a dry, painful sound that seemed to cut through the air. Without thinking, Sophie stepped forward. "Excuse me, ma'am? Are you all right?" The woman looked up, startled at first, then smiled weakly. "Oh, hello, dear. I'm fine, just resting. The bus should be here soon." Emma exchanged a look with Sophie. "There's no bus route on this street anymore," she murmured quietly. The town had moved the line years ago. Still, they didn't question her. Sophie took a few steps closer. "Are you waiting for someone?" The woman nodded slowly. "Yes, I suppose I am. My daughters. They said they'd come for me one day." She smiled faintly, her eyes distant. But time has its own way of testing patience. Her words lingered in the air like frost. Emma's voice softened. "Have you eaten anything today?" The woman hesitated. "Not since yesterday, I think. But I'll be fine, love. Don't you two worry about an old soul like me." But the girls did worry. They were young, but not blind to human suffering. The sight of the woman shivering, trying to hide her hunger behind gentle words, tugged at something deep within them. "Stay here," Sophie said. "We'll be right back." The two hurried to the bakery, just a block away. Using the little money they had, some saved for a movie later that week, they bought a cup of soup, a loaf of bread, and hot cocoa. When they returned, the woman's eyes widened in disbelief. "Oh, my goodness," she whispered. "You didn't have to." Emma handed her the food gently. "We wanted to." The woman's hands trembled as she took the warm cup. "You remind me of my girls," she said softly. "Always kind, always smiling. But life," her voice cracked. "Life took us in different directions." Sophie sat beside her on the bench. "What happened?" She stared ahead at the falling snow. "They moved away after their father passed. I told them I'd be fine on my own. I didn't want to be a burden. I thought I was strong. But it's hard being invisible." Emma swallowed hard, the lump in her throat making it difficult to speak. She took off her wool gloves and gently placed them in the woman's lap. Sophie followed, unwinding her scarf and wrapping it around the woman's shoulders. "You're not invisible anymore," she said softly. The old lady smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "You two are angels," she whispered. "Don't ever stop being kind, even when the world forgets how to be." They sat together for a long while, three strangers sharing warmth in the middle of a quiet winter evening. When the snow grew thicker, the girls stood to leave. "We'll come check on you tomorrow," Emma promised. The woman nodded with a tired smile. "I'll be here, loves." "Thank you." The next day, they returned. The bench was empty. They waited for an hour, then two. The bakery owner told them he hadn't seen the woman since that morning. Days passed, then weeks. The girls kept checking the bench after school, hoping she would return. But she never did. Winter melted into spring, and life moved forward. Exams, school projects, late-night talks about college. Still, every time Emma and Sophie passed that bench, they left something behind. A flower, a cookie, sometimes just a quiet moment of remembrance. Then, one bright April morning, Sophie noticed something on the bench. "Emma, look." There, neatly tucked under a stone, was a small envelope. Inside was a letter written in careful, shaky handwriting. For a moment, the world stood still. The girls read the note again and again, tears slipping down their cheeks. It felt like a goodbye, but also a beginning. They realized something profound that day. Kindness doesn't end where it's given. It travels, quietly, endlessly, from one heart to another. From that day forward, Emma and Sophie made a promise. Every weekend, they visited the Maplewood Care Home, bringing cocoa, stories, and laughter to the residents. They called their little initiative the Willow Project, inspired by that cold evening and a woman who had changed how they saw the world. Their kindness began to spread. Classmates joined in, local shops donated supplies, and soon, the small act of two girls on a snowy street had turned into a community movement. And every year, when the first snow began to fall, Emma and Sophie would return to that same bench on Willow Street. They'd place a single white flower there, whispering into the quiet air, "We remember you." Because sometimes the simplest moments, a shared meal, a warm scarf, a few kind words, become the stories that shape lives. And in the end, kindness isn't about changing the whole world.